wrap up, the final vote of the resolution is done by roll call, and you will say either for, against, or abstain. Now, Mark also mentioned the veto power, which I'm sure most of you have some idea what it is. So basically, there are 5 permanent members of the Security Council: China, France, UK, the US, and Russia. Basically, if any of these countries vote against, the whole resolution fails, even if everyone else votes for. So if you're representing one of these countries, you have to be very careful, because generally you don't want to annoy everyone by voting against. So what you might do is abstain from voting instead, or vote for, if you're actually for it, that's fine. And if you're not one of these countries, think about how you might dissuade these really important countries to vote for the resolution if you need to. Yeah, and the other thing is that the veto is only relevant for the final vote, so it doesn't matter for amendments, it doesn't matter for anything else, it only matters for the whole resolution. Okay, so that is the end of the mock trial. What I'm going to do now is hand over to Nikki, Ian, and Julia, and if any of you have any questions, they'll answer them. So just put up your hands if you have questions. Are there any questions? Yes.
Yep. For the right of reply, who gets right of reply?
The person that proposed it. Now, if in the course of debate, the country that has proposed it has changed their stance, the right of reply then goes to the seconder. If the seconder has also decided they're no longer in favour of it, then there will just be no right of reply. Oh, yes?
Can I use the right of reply?
No, you cannot use the right of reply. And also one thing with that final vote, as well as the veto power, is that there has to be a majority of yes votes. So abstention is just like a nothing vote. Like it doesn't count. So there actually has to be eight yes votes for it to pass. Not me. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes?
If the amendment is voted not to be discussed, I mean, it's automatically rejected.
No, that's a good question. So sometimes it's very, very strategic move. If you, in caucus time of negotiation, have managed to get everyone else on board already, you don't waste time discussing the amendment. It will just move from the procedural vote that is discussed it to a substantive vote on whether or not to incorporate it. And so sometimes they cannot be discussed but still pass. However, sometimes in the interest of debate and getting to hear other people speak, the chair might exercise their discretion and allow debate or allow the person to speak or some variation. But that is a very good question. Just because the amendment isn't discussed doesn't mean that it has automatically failed. In fact, it might pass unanimously. Yes?
When you're debating an amendment and you go to the vote, if one of the members of the members of the Security Council vote against it, does that count as a veto?
No, the only time the veto is used is in the final vote for the entire resolution. So individual amendments don't count. Yeah.
Can you quickly explain the negotiation room?
Yeah, sure. So we didn't actually see it happen, but after the proposer has spoken, before the seconder speaks, at the same time that note passing and the speaker's list is open, the negotiation room is open. And it's a separate room from the main chamber that's sort of attached to it. Only one member of your team can go in. A member has to be present at all times in debate, so you know what's going on. There will always be a judge in the negotiation room if there are people there, so just ignore them. You can send notes to and from the negotiation room. You can send a note to someone to meet in the negotiation room. And the negotiation room is closed whenever a vote is taking place. Yep.
This is kind of a silly question, but what do you actually write on the notes? Like, how much do you write it?
No, that's actually an excellent question. The key with notes is to keep them really clear, especially because the facilitators have to know who it's from and who it's going to. And it might be a good idea to come with some paper already cut up because pairing and grouping during people's speeches, which is fine, but you say come with some already prepared. You say to Iran from the USA, usually on one side, and on the other side, you just write your note. And when you're replying to a note, try to make it really clear. Don't just do this, get along these weird arrows pointing all which way, or pass this on such and such. Just make it really, really clear. And that's how you do it. To this, from this. Same with the chair. To the chair. You know? And facilitators read all.
With notes, what are all the things that you can do apart from asking to speak?
So you can send a note to the chair to speak, you can send a note to the chair requesting caucus time, you can send you'll need to send 2 copies of any amendment that goes up because they will send one back to you. You can send notes to other members of the council, asking them what their stance is. You know, do you have a problem with this clause? It's just another way of negotiating outside of caucus time negotiation. Yeah.
Negotiation room right, or can you walk in at any time?
Yeah, no, you can walk in at any time. There will always be one of the judges there. If there's someone there. Oh, but you can if people are already in there, you can join them. You don't have to all go in at the same time.
How do you normally go in this negotiation room?
The negotiation room is open the entire time. It's just when there's a vote and it's starting the debate. Yeah.
Is there a limit to how many people are allowed in the negotiation room?
No, technically you could. Technically you could have 15 in there. So one member of each team if you wanted. It's fine.
While someone's speaking after a talk to other nations next to you.
No, good question. Obviously you can confer with your partner, do so very quietly. You can't talk to member states around you. You can't even just directly pass a note to them. It seems really silly, but even if you're in the UK and you want to pass a note to the US, sitting next to you have to put it up and the facilitators have to take it. Just because you need to read all
So, as you might have seen from the mock, things do change quite fast. You're not always going to be able to have everything pre-prepared and written out, but there is some stuff you can do before you go into debate. So I'm going to talk you through some of that. So I've got a long list here and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail. So the first and most important thing is to know the judging criteria, to know what you're actually being judged on. Research your country's foreign policy. So know what the main goals of your country are. Are they economic development? Are they to have security? Are they to have expand their trade network? Or is it to have nuclear weapons? I don't know. Whatever it might be. You should also be aware of what the other nations might want. So there are 15 countries on the Security Council, so try and have an idea as well. You should know your own country the best, but have a rough idea of what the other countries sort of stand for, how they might feel about things. And all of that is going to help you prepare your research file, which I'll talk about a bit later. You should also be given 2 resolutions a week before your round. So what you should do is I recommend splitting the resolutions. One member has one member has another, but both of you should have a rough idea of what they're about. And actually know if you're going to be for or against each resolution and why. And that will help you to prepare a speech on the resolution. So where you actually tell the council why you're for or why you're against, or why you might be really for almost except for this one little thing, which will help you to prepare possible amendments. So while you're going through the resolution, think about, I really like it, but maybe clause 3 I don't really like. I want to delete clause 3. So you can actually go into debate with a pre-prepared amendment to delete clause 3. And that saves you lots of scrambling and scribbling while you're actually there. So we'll talk about amendments a little bit later as well. This is just the sort of overpage, so we'll go into all these things a bit in more detail. And last, that's it. Okay. So up here we have the judging criteria, and I'm actually going to get Ilona, who will be head of the judging panel